I came to Bulgaria because Bulgarian people had their own mindset. They were thinking for themselves, not just what one media says to the other. And we were here, we experienced more freedom here, whether you choose to mandates or not, right? And so that plus Bulgaria has the most family values still. Mother, father, kids, they still teach those good values in school here. And that's what I identify with. You know, you have good food grown off the land, a lot less pesticide, you have a lot more opportunities here. I mean, it just feels like home here. Simple as that.
Do you think the people have any power?
I think Bulgarian people have, and history has shown, I think Bulgarian people have that in them. And that's why I'm here. Because Bulgarian people have that fire in them. Obviously, Todor Zhivkov, right? Big name in Bulgarian history. So, a lot of people hate him. Some people like him.
Everyone has an opinion about him.
Exactly, right? So the brave thing that he did do at that time that no one else dares to do is...
Kevin.
Yes.
Thank you for being here, man.
Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor to be in the Budilnik studio.
In the Budilnik podcast improvised studio.
Yes, love it.
Yeah. What brings you into Bulgaria? What brings you into Burgas? And
well, that's a very long story. It goes back 8 years ago, really.
We don't have 8 years, but like an hour or two.
Yeah, sure. Very quickly, we were living in Netherlands at the time. My wife is Ukrainian. I'm from New Zealand originally. Well, originally from South Africa, but I'm a New Zealand citizen as well. And we were looking, you know, at investing somewhere, right, with some money that we have. Like my pension was coming loose out of New Zealand, and I was like, okay, I'll use it for investing somewhere. So we looked across Europe, and most Europeans would look in a different way, but we see opportunities in places where others don't. And we saw a very beautiful seaside property in Obzor on, I think, propertiesunder20k.com or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So
the one that you bought, it's not under 20k, right?
No, exactly.
No, yeah.
So we ended up coming here. We met a very nice guy called Stanislav.
So Bulgarian guy.
Bulgarian guy, became friends with him. Bulgarian guy, became friends with him. And essentially, that winter, it snowed so much in Bulgaria. I don't know if you remember it, probably 8 years ago. It was when the whole Burgas snowed under and all the cars were on the side. Yeah,
yeah, that's not usual. We remember it.
Yeah, and that...
I think it's 2017, I suppose.
Something like that, yes. And that winter, like, and even the highway, the main highway that goes from Sarajevo all the way to Nesebar, that was not even completed. So you had to go the back roads through Pomeria and stuff. But we couldn't we ended up not being able to make it to that land because it was snowed in. So the guy was like, okay, look, I've got another land closer to Burgas, which is in the Sinirid and Rudina area, which is above Prosenik in the Ruin municipality. So we went there, and it's more of a mountain property, which is exactly the opposite. So we went there, and my wife and I and Stan, and the first moment we pulled up by the side of the road, we were like, wow, because it was like a winter wonderland. It was just the snow. When I stepped onto the land, actually, I'm not a very tall guy, but it went up to my hip.
Yeah, the snow there is like they're having snow like this more often than Burgas.
Exactly,
so I don't even know how you got there.
There's actually a very nice tar road over there, well maintained by the Ruin municipality, even at 800 meters above sea level. And it was just a winter wonderland, fairy tale, pine trees on the land, everything, 2.2 hectare of it. And I said immediately, I want this land.
Was this the first property that you saw?
Yes.
First one?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was so beautiful, we knew immediately that we wanted it because it aligns with our values in life, right?
Did you have any doubts since then?
my wife obviously always has doubts.
Yeah.
And
I'm like this.
Yeah. And I was more sure of it because I had a more clearer picture in my mind about what our future will be like at that time and what we want to do. Our values were more into not valuing city life or material things, but although this is a material thing, but more into nature, freedom, and stuff like that. And yeah, since that time, we fell in love with Bulgaria.
This is like the initial reason for most of foreigners coming to Bulgaria, that feeling of freedom and like a little bit closer to nature, a little bit more basic stuff.
Exactly. I mean, like, I think our favorite restaurant at the time was Happy. And the one close to the main street of Burgas was not open yet even. It was like the one across the Sea Garden, you know, the one not far away from the Flora one, that Happy.
Yeah. In Lazur.
Yeah, Lazur, sorry. Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, like, we fell in love with the place. Obviously, we were high and euphoric about buying the property and our ideas and stuff. And we came back a few times over the years. And then finally, I had an opportunity to move here with the company that I was working for because they started the Bulgarian entity in Sofia, but I could work remotely. So we decided 2 years and 4 months ago to make the plunge, and we came here.
Oh, that's a freedom you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. And you can work from home. And
exactly.
Okay, but how long have you been together with your wife before making such a decision? Let's go on the other side of the world and buy a property and live there.
Well, we were already together for almost 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah, and we were in... No, sorry, I'm lying. 2 years at that stage. And we were already trying to have kids in a way, you know, and
2
we were
years,
living
is that not a big decision to make in 2 years?
Well, that's the thing, you know, a lot of people say that, oh, you know, you need to be 10 years together before you can form a relationship. And well, I mean, before my wife, I was engaged with someone that I was with together for a long time, and that person was not the right person. I met my wife over the internet, actually, this one. And 6 months, you know, after 6 months of video calls, I decided to go from New Zealand to Ukraine. We met and, you know, we just knew it. 2 weeks later, I proposed to her in Lviv, which is one of the most beautiful cities in the world, which was occupied by the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the Polish, the German, the Russians, everything at the stage.
Yeah, obviously, whoever went there loves it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. We've been, you know, almost married for 10 years.
But so you're this type of guy, you just make your mind and stick to it, and
I'm the type of guy that goes to the supermarket and I go for what I want and I leave.
Yeah. That perfectly describes it.
Even if it's like the bad choice, I will go and get the correct choice afterwards, but initially I'll just go get what I want.
Nothing can change your mind. Yeah.
Well,
you know your goals. Yeah.
Exactly. But, you know, after being married for quite a number of years and having kids, some stuff can start to change your mind because you're not thinking just about yourself anymore. You start to think about, oh, if I make this decision, how would it impact the wife and the kids and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But Bulgaria itself, going back to that initial question, when we came back here, it was during the lockdown period.
A little bit earlier. No, we had two storms like this, one in 17, one in maybe 21st.
No, the lockdown period of the sea.
Yeah. Not the COVID lockdown, not the big lockdown.
Yeah, well, can I say COVID on this podcast?
Yeah, hope so.
Okay. I just don't want to limit it being like spread further, but the COVID lockdown. And let's just put it this way. I came to Bulgaria because Bulgarian people had their own mindset. They were thinking for themselves, not just what one media says or the other. And we were here, we experienced more freedom here. Whether you choose to do the, you know,
the mandatory, what was the name? Yeah. Mandates
or not, right? And so that plus Bulgaria has the most family values still. Mother, father, kids, they still teach those good values in school here. And that's what I identify with. You know, you have good food grown off the land, a lot less pesticide. You have a lot more opportunities here, and I mean, it just feels like home here. Simple as that.
Do you think we can take the pressure from the top guys and not change that, not lose that?
Well, that's what I'm afraid of, actually.
Yeah, me too.
One of the biggest issues that I see is adopting the euro. In what, January 2025? Entering that single market is never a good idea, because a lot of Bulgarians will now go and say, yes, but the leva is pinned against the euro. It's not really that much. Look at Switzerland, for example. They make the independent decisions. Even during World War I, World War II, sanctions, whatever, they decide for their country what is best, right?
Yeah.
And therefore, if you look at the leva, it's actually quite strong compared to a lot of other currencies, you know? Half of what a euro is, right? That's actually quite strong. And if you create a lot more of your own home-based GDP, right, in the past, like Romania is doing, in a way, right, because the GDP is much higher at this stage, and Bulgaria has the resources and the people and knowledge to do that, then suddenly it doesn't make sense to be part of the single market, but export to the single market, and so in a way that it profits your own nation the best, and it brings wealth and prosperity here, so that young Bulgarians doesn't have to leave to Sofia or to Germany or to UK or anywhere else.
But my feeling is that we're doing this right now, living from Burgas to Sofia and from Bulgaria to Northern Europe.
Absolutely, that's what's happening now, and that's why
we're doing it without euro. Maybe the hopes is that because of the euro, we'll take them back. They'll come back in a way, in some strange way.
Well, the issue with that is inflation. So the moment you switch over to euro, did the government here or anyone else do their homework that everyone else now needs to have correct their pay to the euro level, right? The supermarket prices and everything else is going to go up, and people will still have the same salaries. It will take a long time to correct that. So people will be out of pocket a lot more. Look what happened in Croatia.
But it's happening here too. Like,
it's already happening.
Prices here are like terrible. I don't know. I'm not comparing, but
yeah. No, I agree with that, but it will be a lot worse.
You mentioned the euro. How the euro is taking away our naturally produced food or the freedoms that we mentioned earlier?
Well, the problem for me is much deeper rooted than that. It is the fact that the European Union has regulations that you have to adhere to, and if you don't do it, you don't get Schengen agreements or this or funding or this or that or the other, right? To some degree, that does make sense if you want to make sure that you have alignment across the block for, making trading easier and things like that. But to the other degree, it forces values upon a nation which has different values. And then, suddenly you are living the life that some European parliamentary president or commissioner wants you to live, rather than what you as a nation voted through your MEP in the European Parliament.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Like, what some European government employee has to do with the decisions in Bulgaria and stuff. And it's hard to swallow this, but centralizing power is the main issue, I suppose.
Yeah, absolute power corrupts, and that's a fact. And one of the things that's not helping Bulgaria is the current political situation. Now you're going to go in your 5th election, potentially.
Yep.
I feel the desire, especially from people under 40 at this stage, to really make Bulgaria better for themselves. Whereas some of the people over 40, in my experience, what I've observed, wants to still be in that repetitive cycle of life is bad and, I can't really do much about it, and it was better back in the day and during the communist era and blah blah blah.
Is there a combination between the two? Because I'm like, situation is bad and we should do something about it.
Well, I love what you just said now, because I always say that don't box things. you can never box things. Every situation is very unique, and what might make sense for one country might not make sense for another country.
Yeah, of course.
You cannot look at artificial intelligence, for example. You cannot like have one set of information that comes from UK, that it's learned about the UK nation. You feed a Bulgarian person, asks a question and it answers in a way that a UK person would accept it. The data that you need is specifically for this nation, and that might mean a combination of what worked back in the day, a combination of European Union and something else, some hybrid scenario that actually helps this nation now at this point in time with the current circumstances around it. You know, with the war in Ukraine, with the economic situation, with companies wanting to do more with less, right? So now you see the tech sector cutting a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
Because they want to do more with less. It's not necessarily influenced by AI, but because of trying to become more efficient and increasing those profit margins.
In majority, perhaps, maybe it's influenced by artificial intelligence.
I think that is a driving influence, but I think that there's a lot more things.
Of course, of course. It's more complicated than we think, but a little bit step back to take step back. When you meet your wife over the internet, how many people told you that's a scam, man?
So this is interesting. So I am a Christian, and I initially, after my engagement, I broke my engagement off with a previous woman because I realized she was not for me. She was all over Instagram, like showing her body and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I don't need that. So I went through this personal journey and growth and trying to discover what's the meaning of life. And I fell upon the Bible, obviously, and, came to my own journey through that. And essentially, one day I was working for a startup, and this guy was asking me, when are you going to get laid? You know, finally. And I'm like, listen, the next woman that I sleep with is going to be my wife.
Wow, that's a commitment.
I was 26 at the time. I was really tired of, I was starting to see life differently through different eyes and different values. And
because of the Bible?
Yes, 100% because of the Bible and because of human factors. I was getting tired of, meeting women up who just wants to sleep with you immediately. And then like, there's no emotional connection. Sometimes I find that guys...
I hate that. No.
Exactly. And sometimes I find like guys are more sensitive than women in the modern age. But yes, the guy was like, and he's not Christian. He's like, just get laid. Like, I'm like, I don't do that. And he's like, okay, register on a Christian dating website and find someone and then get laid. Obviously a joke.
Is there such a thing?
Yes.
Ah, really?
And so I, not to get laid, but to meet someone and then later obviously. And so I don't know, man. I don't know what went through my head. So I registered on My Christian Dating for free. It's a website back then, 2014. And I didn't think anything of it. And the first profile that I saw was my wife's, now wife's, Julia. And she was sitting by a fountain with really nice eyes. I didn't know where she was from. I just started writing. She wrote back. We one thing led to another. We built this emotional connection. We started Skyping at that stage. Skype was still a thing.
Yeah.
And that's even like new compared to back in the MSN days and stuff and AOL. But we started Skyping, and then, I just decided to take a plunge. Flew literally across the world.
And someone knew that you were doing that adventure?
Yeah. One other guy also had a Ukrainian wife, and he was more understanding. And the other guy, and this was during the Crimean invasion, 2014, when one of the planes got shot down.
Yeah.
And the other people, they were just like, what are you doing? Find a New Zealand wife, blah, 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 woman. And I'm like, they don't have the same values as me. Sorry, they just too promiscuous. They want to sleep around the whole time. And I flew across, exactly. I flew across, they have different values, man. Like I flew, not all of them.
Yeah, I've read something that around this region, Australia, New Zealand, it's like when you ask
3-4 marriages.
Like when you ask 100 women in the street, do you want to sleep with me? Just like random women is like more than 30% are like, yeah, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And that's like, wow.
it has to do with morals and values for me personally. And unfortunately, in that region of the world, there's less. There are people like us, but that value morals and values. But yeah.
You mentioned religion.
Yes.
What's up with the religion there?
There's secular. So atheism, they don't believe in anything, right? I think most people don't believe in anything. If someone believes in anything there, I think there's Buddhism, right? And because it's a large Asian population as well, and a lot of the New Zealand people, because they think it's cool, they believe in it. They'll have like statues of it without understanding what they believe in, whereas the Asian people really understand what they believe in, and that means something to them. But I feel like people are not very deep. So it's like when you see an iceberg, right?
Yeah.
You see it across on the top of the water. New Zealand wouldn't have anything deeper, like not much deeper. There's a lot of people that would argue, yes, we do, but I would argue being, traveling across the world, being more than 46 countries, living in 8, that no, that's not a fact. And that in Bulgaria, people are a lot more deeper, and they have a lot more deeper roots, values, Eastern Europe specifically.
Yeah.
And so when you go across Bulgaria, the iceberg's bottom is very deep. Like the Black Sea, one of the deepest.
How do you explain that? Is that because of religion, or is that because of lifestyle, politics?
There's a few
influence, West-East influence.
There's a few things.
You see different cultures and different opinions and stuff.
Yeah. There's a few things. First of all, it has to do with how old the nation is. Like Bulgaria is the oldest nation that still exists today in the Roman Empire, from the Roman Empire, as far as I believe, right?
Much
plus
older,
minus.
Yeah.
Much older, actually.
Yeah.
Actually. And that's one thing. New Zealand is a very relatively young nation, so you have a strong identity. They don't. They're still trying to find it. Second of all, really they have been colonized, right? By the Dutch, by the English. First, before that, by the Maori, who ate the Polynesians that lived on the New Zealand territory. They were cannibals. And the last point is that Bulgaria, even the Ottoman Empire back then, that was having battles with Bulgaria and all that, all of these wars had deeply rooted reasons through religion and belief, whereas New Zealand has never gone through that, right? To test what their identity is, to self-realize what their identity is. So that's one thing. The other one is the influence, and I'm going to say Western influence, because Western influence is a lot more progressive, obviously, than, say, Eastern influence. And what I mean by that is not the good things about the Western influence, the bad things about the Western influence. It's no longer okay to say the word Jesus in public, because then you're a Jesus freak or you're weird. It's no longer okay to value your wife and your children, because then you're weird. You need to value... am I allowed to say some stuff on this podcast?
Hopefully do so, please. We have nothing to lose. That's our freedom.
You need to value inclusion, diversity, which I have no problem with, inequality, but it's forced upon you, where the 10 Commandments is what bases most of the modern Christian nations, right? And that is, don't steal, don't lust after your neighbor's wife, love God your Father, love your neighbor as you love yourself, right? Mm-hmm. These values, because of that thinning away over time of values, since the Roman Empire split, right? Yep. Into the Anglo-Saxons, the Ostrogoths, the Visigoths, and all these different things. Over time, that's lost. And so people don't really have a belief structure. And today's modern day belief structure doesn't have a root in anything. And so therefore they they will just go with the latest trend. So whether that is a transvestite that teaches your children in school, or the new Church of Satan, you know, that it's cool because they can do fun things, and witchcraft and all this different type of stuff is cool. And Jesus is not cool anymore. Being nice to people is not cool anymore, right? And doing good things to people is not cool anymore. You see it in today's world. Someone will lay dying on the street, people will walk past him and film them rather than try to help them.
Yeah, it happens. I don't know if it happens in Bulgaria, but I've seen stuff like this all over the place. In response to this, do you think it's starting to be cool to be a Christian, to be a religious guy, to be a moral guy or gal? Doesn't matter.
Yes, I do believe so.
We start seeing something like this, right?
Yeah, I do believe so. What you say is 100% correct. I think that people are starting to wake up and to realize that the current trend that we're on, which sparks all these wars, all these insecurities, all these, like, look at Canada. Look how quickly it went down the drain, its economy, everything else.
What happened with that?
Yeah, because of this type of situation. Now people are waking up and realizing, hey, I need to find a moral framework here. Just as it was written in the Bible, the God's word will be spread to all four corners of the earth, and then the end will come, right? Because everyone will have a chance to realize what's the truth and not.
Yeah, but remember what did the church do in Canada? Like a generation ago, it was terrible with this churches and homes for children that they try to assimilate in the culture, and that's like
so that is the thing.
60, 70 years ago, schools like this were open where they'll have mass graves in the backyard.
I agree with you. I think that is absolutely disgusting. It reminds me of this one time when the Pharisees, the Jews, wanted to stone a prostitute. And Jesus said, the first one of you who don't sin, pick up that stone and stone her. None of them could, right? Because all of them were sinners. So in today's world, like even back then, like people don't realize Jesus says, I am love, right? Love means freedom of choice, right? True Christianity is not to force it upon people, but to tell them about the good news and giving them a freedom of choice. Not to force it upon people like the Spanish Inquisition or what happened with the first reformer, Martin Luther, when he nailed the differences of what the Catholic Church was teaching versus what is really in the Bible. Right? Yeah. And you see statues of these reformers all over Switzerland, you know, the Waldensians and stuff like that, trying to tell the truth about, you know, we don't force you, but you need to show love and you need to teach love. You can never force. Anything that forces is not a good thing. And it ultimately comes down to selfishness versus selflessness. Selflessness is love. Selfishness is caring about yourself and forcing your own need upon another person.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the issue is that too often they start with the flaming sword, not the...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you shouldn't align yourself with people like that. I absolutely, as a Christian myself, as a Bible-believing Christian, I don't align myself with anyone who teaches anything opposite to what Jesus Christ taught. And he went not to save necessarily the already righteous, but the people that are struggling in life, the criminals, the this, the that, the other. And he helped them. And he didn't like force his point upon them, right?
Yeah, I understand that. I'm not judging religion now, not particularly, but more like Canada, for example.
Yeah.
You have the situation now because it's like a pendulum and it's swinging.
Yeah.
And like a generation ago was this
super Christian.
Yeah, these schools, and now it's on the other way. Now we should be.
But which way are good? Both of them are bad. This is why the extreme left or the extreme right can never be good. Something central where people are normal and actually respect. It all comes down to respecting everyone's own freedom of choice. As simple as
and
that.
we don't know where is the center, and that's why we swing like this, and it's
well, you know,
maybe the natural way of going to the center, just having less swings.
You might be right.
Time.
You might be right, but what I'm concerned about is, I think what makes the whole world go through wars every decade or every half century, to a century, is the fact that governments start to enforce laws, right, of one side or the other.
And are we in a war right now?
I think we're already in the Third World War.
Already,
100%.
right?
100%. 100%. And I think that the moment people stop enforcing their own viewpoints through political institutions, matters, and laws, that's the moment where people will have more peace. You might have intertribal wars or disagreements, but you cannot legislate people's beliefs.
But how can we stop the war without forcing it to stop?
People
without
just,
force?
Yeah.
How can you beat force without force?
That's a very tough question to which I do not have the answer. But what I can tell you, though, is that everyone has a choice, right? Anger stirs up anger and love stirs up love. The moment one person starts to show love to another person, doesn't matter what your disagreement is. It's like two guys fighting, you know, guys like, hey, F you, man. The other guy's like, F you, man. You'll slap each other and then you'll hug each other. Like, guys are like that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then they'll become best of friends.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Whereas, sorry to say, women, I'm not misogynist or anything, but a lot of women keep grudges.
Because maybe they never go to the point that they're fighting each other.
Maybe.
Because at some point it should go get worse before it gets better.
Exactly.
I don't know.
No, I mean, I'm not advocating for violence, but I think that one of the reasons why guys are getting past things a lot easier is because they go to that point or they get close to that point where they both realize, okay, reality check. This guy in front of me actually has a lot more similar values to me than what I thought. And I should not look at him like he is an object or a piece of trash, but more from my own point of view, you know, and my own eyes. And so the moment people start to do that and start to reconcile and not with each other, not via the entity of political institutions like, I don't know, European Union, Biden, Vladimir Putin, or whatever, right? Yeah. But with each other, that's when the real revolution will start of people saying enough's enough, let's love each other and build a society rather than fighting the wars of people that cannot get over shit.
When you said...
Sorry for the words.
People, no, thank you. I was always looking for the honest opinion of a person, and I don't want to have any barriers. Hopefully, we had our elections recently, and you think that we're gonna have another one pretty soon. Yeah, maybe you're right. Do you see people engaged, or as the results show?
I see more and more Bulgarians. Care at all. Yeah, exactly. I see more and more Bulgarians not caring because whatever they do has no influence anymore.
Is that right?
Well, this is from an outsider perspective, my view of living here for 2.5 years almost, what I see and when I speak to a lot of my Bulgarian friends, right?
Yeah.
There are some more extreme reformers that really want to do things for Bulgaria. And it's like, there's one guy called Donald Trump of Bulgaria. What's his name?
I don't know who's had that title. Not sure.
I can't remember. But he wants to do things for Bulgaria and Bulgarian people, regardless of what European Union wants or what Russia wants or whatever wants. He wants to do it first for Bulgarian people, and then to how we can support outside nations, right? So. People like that are gaining traction from my perspective, but it's very hard when you balance this fine line of trying to be in the European Union, trying to please the European bureaucrats.
But that's all. Why should anyone please them?
Because at the current moment, with Bulgaria's economic situation and the people in power, it's more beneficial for the Bulgarian people to have a bit of the European Union influence because the current heads of state here are not really necessarily looking out for the best interests of Bulgarians. And unfortunately, you have to choose the best of the worst at this stage. But if there could be someone that actually cares about Bulgarians first and then outside influences and say, hey, this is our line of what we care about.
Yeah.
And outside of that line, I'm willing to negotiate with you, whatever that may be. I could be an independent state like Switzerland and be part of the European Economic Area or whatever else, and or not, right? Or be part of the European Union, but you have to accept our vision and our values as well, because we're living in this side. The culture, the traditions,
that's the trick
everything
part.
is
How
different.
much can you push back? Where should you draw the line?
The problem,
We're giving up this, but we're keeping this, and we're fighting for this. And how can we do it?
Well, how much are the Bulgarian people willing to really fight for it?
I don't think we're look outside. The beaches are full. It's a nice weather, and they don't care. People don't care, maybe because
Because it doesn't affect them.
Yeah, maybe. They come to this conclusion, but how can not affect them? How is this possible? I don't see the point in that.
They don't realize it now because they're short-sighted, and a lot of people are more into...
Do you think the people have any power?
I think Bulgarian people have, and history has shown, with the writer that is from Sopot, and what's his name? One of the guys who's responsible for...
But can we repeat that history? Because times changed a lot.
I think Bulgarian people have that in them, and that's why I'm here, because Bulgarian people have that fire in them. They just need...
But if we do, why don't we vote? Which is like...
Because the voting system...
You're calling for, we have the revolution power, and I'm like, but we don't have even the power to go and tick a square.
So the question is whether people believe that will make a difference, or whether if there's some other mechanism for them in place.
Also, they'll take the guillotine out, but they'll not go vote.
They won't, what, sorry?
They have the willing and the power to take the guillotine out.
Yes.
I mean, they have the power for revolution if they know that it's going to work, but they don't go and vote because they don't believe in the power of voting?
Probably.
Maybe.
Right?
Okay.
I mean, you're Bulgarian, you know it better than me, but what I've seen, across the world, even in Russia and Ukraine or even America, there's still that same sort of concept, right? Like, if my votes don't count, like, for example, in America, if you vote, 10,000 people vote, but there's a super delegate that's an ex-president or something that has funding, and their votes count 25,000 people, then what's the point of voting?
Yeah, I understand.
Right? Yeah. So democracy is not a thing. It doesn't exist. What people need is a free world economy and a free world for people where there's a mechanism in place to ensure that no corruption can occur, and that people just stop the funding from outside companies and businesses, and then you will not have politicians' influence to do these things. Stop it.
You have a pretty good TikTok channel.
Yes.
How do people respond?
That's interesting.
What do you take back from them, like information and feedback?
So I only started TikTok actually in Bulgaria.
Who's watching? Bulgarians?
Mostly Bulgarians, actually. Mostly Bulgarians. The biggest audience is Bulgarians. We had a YouTube channel longer than that. We have like 22,000 subscribers. But I find that when you really want to share your mind and stuff like that, TikTok is a better platform for that. TikTok pushes that information further.
And you gave up 25,000 subscribers?
I'm still on YouTube for long-form content because it's better for long-form content. It's the worst for short-form content. TikTok is the best for short-form content. But I find that the TikTok caters to a different audience. And what I'm learning through the TikTok by posting things about Bulgaria and its past in an objective manner, I see all these different opinions and voices coming in. So I get a better understanding of how Bulgarians view their own country.
For the same opinion, maybe sometime you get two completely different people. Like if you try to be in the center, you said you try to be objective.
Yes.
And I suppose someone will say you're a guy of Putin, and the other one will say you're a NATO, Euro-Atlantic.
The worst was like, hey, you Anglo-Saxon, leave my country.
Oh, really?
And stuff like that. But I'm not really offended by it because 90% of Bulgarians are welcoming and they see past that, right? So there's people that say, like I went to, obviously Todor Zhivkov, right?
Yeah.
Big name in Bulgarian history. So, a lot of people hate him. Some people like him.
Everyone has an opinion about him.
Exactly, right? So I went and I did a few, explorations of some of his, mansions that he built and even the people before him. Just to get an idea of what kind of mindset this type of person must have had to build this type of stuff. Just by sharing that content, I had a lot of people in support of him, saying those were the days, those were the good days. And a lot of people were saying that, his daughter was assassinated and they were not fair to him. And a lot of other people saying, do you remember how your grandmother stood in line just for a piece of bread for half a day? Right? Yeah. So there was that as well.
You're glorifying these days and someone remembers the...
Exactly. Whereas like...
Hunger, someone remembers the glory days.
Exactly. But whereas if you go into a helicopter view, outside of all these opinions, the truth is somewhere in between. It always is.
Yeah, for sure, because we're talking about the same place, same time.
Yeah, exactly.
And the opinions are completely different. Like if you don't have parents, grandparents, you'll never know the truth.
Yeah.
Because right now, just people like me that didn't even live in that times, just express opinions that they heard from someone, read somewhere, read some propaganda from both sides.
Yeah. But you can never stop that, right? And the only way that you can prevent that is like through people like me sharing about Bulgaria, and then you see Bulgarians start to debate themselves, right? What I do is I try and respect everyone's viewpoint and opinion. I say interesting, cool. I don't delete it unless it's very disrespectful against anyone, right? I let it flow like you do on Budilnik, right?
Yeah.
Because I think it's important. If that debate is allowed, then there would be more like singularity at the end of the day of, hey, we agree on these things, but we don't agree on those things. Let's live in peace, right?
Did you find something that they agree on?
Yeah.
That's a tough question.
Well, a lot of people agreed that perhaps, for example, this is probably controversial, that Todor Zhivkov was actually a reformer of the Communist Party.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. When the famous speech that he said, how can you decide anything if you don't have money?
Yeah.
The party leader should not decide anything.
Yeah.
And that was a controversial and like fringe idea for the Soviet Union.
Yes,
because in the Soviet Union, if you have the red passport card and you're the member, you're deciding over anyone.
Yeah.
Like, and he was like, we should be open. We should have open markets with the West and stuff.
To me, that's very incredibly brave at that stage. I'm not going to...
For a couple of years, they removed them after that speech.
And
imagine.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not...
When I talk with people that were party leaders at that time, when you see at the conference, the recording that when he says it, people are laughing, cheering, applauding. But when I heard people that were not there and were party leaders and they were like, we were hearing this and we couldn't remember, we were in shock.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is this guy talking about? This is against everything in the books that we were studying for Communist Party history and economics and stuff. What's that? It should be central government deciding everything. What do you mean? They should be self-regulating, open markets. What he's talking about? Yeah, but
I think
we throw the baby with the bathwater in some regards.
Yes, 100% agree with that statement. I think that a lot of people probably in their hearts and their minds always thought about voicing this type of opinions, but they couldn't because of the repercussions of that and the judgment from other people.
Yeah.
And perhaps if they did speak out, they will be alienated. But, and I'm not discounting the potential bad things that Todor Zhivkov could have done or might have done, but what
he did.
Yeah, that he did.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like that because I have no right to speak on Bulgarian history. But what the brave thing that he did do at that time that no one else dares to do is speak out against the Soviet communist values. And let me tell you, if you look at history, look at Georgia and all these other places, people got killed for that stuff, man.
Yeah, leaders got killed,
Civil war started because of this stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that was incredibly brave, and I do believe that it was the start of helping Bulgaria get out of that type of mentality, right?
Mhm.
Whether he was a good or a bad person, right? I think that every action has a reaction, good or bad.
And they came to that's the topic that they come to some agreement on.
Mhm.
That
Yeah, a lot
he
of
was
people. Yeah,
a revolutionary thinking in some way,
yeah,
in some economic narrow way.
yeah. But there's another topic that's quite a hot potato that recently popped up in my last video when I came to the Russian border. And the first thing,
Russe?
yeah, the Russian border.
Yeah, okay.
I came from Bucharest.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I go there quite a lot and I go through this exact same border. This time, a guy the border guard, took my New Zealand passport and spoke to me in Russian. The first thing that he said, and I thought to myself, if he spoke to me in Hungarian or French or another language, I would still think the same. The problem is you're a Bulgarian ambassador for someone coming to the border.
Yeah.
Now you're going to make my mind think, are you a Russian spy or a plant? Right? Why are you speaking to me in Russian first? And before anyone goes and has any opinions that says, yes, but the dialect is very similar, there's a clear difference between Russian and Bulgarian. I'm sorry, even if the Cyrillic alphabet came from here.
Maybe they speculate that maybe you misheard.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't, because one thing that I didn't mention is my wife, that they didn't see, or a passport see at that stage, is Ukrainian. And she speaks fluent Russian. She speaks fluent Ukrainian.
So no doubt about it.
There's no doubt about it. Plus, with my basic understanding of Russian, of Bulgarian, bulgarski язык, аз разбрах малко bulgarski язык, just a little bit.
Страхотно.
Yeah, and, you know, я понимаешь русский мова тоже. So, и я говорю украинский мова теж. So, this is different, you know?
Yeah.
So I just want to show you guys with that example, there's a big difference in the dialect.
Yeah.
And so I posted about this. I said, look, can someone please explain to me why when I come to this border is a Bulgarian border guard or customs officer, sorry if I didn't get that term right, speaking to me in Russian. And so I stopped my car because he told me to basically piss off and stop my car on the side. Very rude, yelled at me. And,
For what?
And then, you know, I don't know. And at that stage, I was trying to be diplomatic and nice, but I had a long road and I was tired and I was getting annoyed. And so I walked back to this guy and there was a Romanian guard and him.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, I said to him, bro, like, don't speak Russian to me. This is Bulgaria. You know, bulgarski язык, you know? And he's like, I don't understand. So he was mocking me because I'm English, obviously. He understood because he saw my New Zealand passport. He knew perfectly what he did.
Yeah, but
And
Bulgarian is the same, good enough, even better for an official person. Yeah.
Exactly. And then I said...
To speak to a New Zealand guy.
Exactly. Like, first speak to me Bulgarian. If I don't understand it, then you can try other languages, right? Right? To see if we can have some common ground. Then I was getting annoyed at him, and then the Romanian guard told me, this guy is not a nice guy, just relax, go over there. So he at least have some sense, and so I walked away, but I decided I wanted to make a post about it because I actually have no right in Bulgaria, but I feel proud of Bulgaria. I feel proud of the Bulgarian language, of the Bulgarian culture. I live here, I want to make it my own. I love Iran, I love... Lutenitsa. I love...
but you're living here. You should have... If we want to be like welcoming nation and country, we should have like at least give you some basic... you have...
hospitality.
I mean, you said I have no rights. You should have some rights as...
No, but I mean, I just want to speak from a perspective of, yes, I understand the perspective of others that I'm not here long enough to understand the full history and lineage. But the point is that there were some people saying, this was Anglo-Saxon, get out of the country.
Yeah.
And then there was some saying, you should learn Russian because it won't be long before you have to fully speak it. to me, you know. So obviously there's some
again, aggression, like
bots or plants or some
no real people. These
real
are real
propagandist
people. You haven't
people.
met people like this in real life.
I have.
You have, right?
I have.
I promise you, these are real people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hope that they're bots.
Yeah.
But I don't think they are.
My main question though is it so wrong for me to love Bulgaria as a nation and the Bulgarian history and the Bulgarian language, right?
How can I say no?
I'm not a nationalist, but I think Bulgaria should have its own identity.
Yeah, but that's like, for some sense of humor, this is a joke. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll learn,
Yeah.
Russian pretty soon, but the other guy,
Yeah.
okay, what are the opinions? Because a joke and a like far
And then there's good
crazy
people,
guy and a
there's
crazy
good
guy,
people that says that,
but
hey,
like people with some common sense.
they say ignore him, bro. They are like a vodka that.
Ignore him is the best one. But
And they were like the comments from the level-minded Bulgarians were, these guys are commies. That's what they call them in Bulgarian, like commies, who like really, you know, and then they only had the chance to study Russian in school. But then there's other ones that says, bro, there was opportunity to study Russian, English, German at school. So if they, you know, so don't come with that nonsense. So 90% of Bulgarians disagree with that. They say, I'm so sorry that you have to experience that in my country. This is not what we are like. And of course I know that, right? I just
you felt it already, right?
Yeah,
like for so many years. 8 years, it's
exactly. And a lot of the times Bulgarians, they might like look rude at first, but if you approach them and speak a little bit to them and give a little bit of Bulgarian, then they are very welcoming.
Yeah, we are a bit rough on the edges.
Yeah, but
usually warm-hearted.
Yeah, but what's wrong with that? Like, I think that's just part of your national identity, and
especially the guys. Like for welcome, we are looking tough.
Yeah,
I don't know why is that.
Or some of the
type of Balkan mentality.
Yeah, exactly. I have a hairdresser in Burgas, and he says to me, in the 90s it was even worse. You know, people.
In the 90s,
people walk around like this. If people look at them the wrong way.
Yeah, that was enough.
Like, you know, and stuff. But yeah.
But right now, no, just welcoming and warm-hearted.
I find that like really like I had a disagreement with someone at the gym because you know they were taking 5 machines at the same time. And I was like, and they are real vodka, like real vodka, and like shorts, jandals, like this, steroids, everything, bald hair, and you know. And I said, bro, like you were not even here. Like, I need to, like I respectfully look that no one's exercising here. Now let me do my exercise. The previous person that backed down, he was more aggressive too, but I didn't back down, and I told him exactly where we're standing, and he respected that.
Yeah. Usually that's the main part that I'm talking about.
Yeah. And then he showed me a lot more hospitality, and he's like, you know, high-fiving me in the gym, whatever, you know.
That's the way. That's the way. Oh my God. So you get taste of Bulgaria.
I mean, Bulgaria, like, I haven't really left Bulgaria much apart from going to Romania and Greece, you know, on business trips. But I've been here. I've been going to the Karjali district, the Kirkovo, the, you know, Sofia area, the Varna, the Plovdiv, the Rusa. I've been everywhere.
Most amazing thing for me is like the places that you mentioned, all of them completely different. I mean, the people are completely different. Doesn't matter the architecture and stuff, but the people are so different. Between like Russia, Karjali, Sofia, and Burgas. It's like a different nation. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean,
which is the beauty of Bulgaria.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. From Burgas to Varna, there's a massive difference. By the way,
we're on the seashore. We're like 120 kilometers away from each other, but people are night and day.
I think Burgas is the best.
Oh, come on, you're melting me.
Like, no, this is why I'm living here. I love it, you know. And Varna has a while to go. Sorry, people from Varna.
I've lived there 7 years. I love Varna.
Yeah.
I love it. I have such a good friends from there. And I don't even understand the people that are saying it's much better or it's better, because I can see that they are like having most of the things that are good in Burgas, like exaggerated.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's 4 shopping malls or something, right? Like,
it's everything
here is only
more.
like 2, and Galleria is kind of an excuse for a mall, and Plaza is half open, half closed. You know, and back in the day, it was like a sprawling place. There was like a pharmacy, there was a tech mart in there. There was like it was really great, but and Varna has that part, right, for consumers at least. But for the beaches and stuff, I would say
beaches better in Burgas. Yeah, much better.
Yeah.
Even outside, even without counting outside of Burgas.
Yeah.
Because outside of Burgas, you have the seasides that are like on world level if we like put a bit of work into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Burgas Sea Garden for me is like up there in the world, right?
Yeah.
It can be even more. If I compare the Varna Sea Garden against the Burgas Sea Garden, there's not even a comparison for me, because I feel it's a lot more beach vibe, atmospheric, and open, and gardeny, and more like inviting here. Whereas like the Varna Sea Garden is kind of divided in pieces, and people, it's not like there's open spaces, but there's not a lot of open spaces where that's the whole thing is open space. You know what I'm saying?
The worst thing is that the cars are going down.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's ruining it. But anyways, it's a 2 hours drive tops, so we can have both. It's not ours, and we'll kill them and stuff.
No, but I mean, like, for me, an important point in Bulgaria is the fact that why is only Sofia, Bulgaria, and Plovdiv, Sofia, Varna, and Plovdiv developmental centers for technology and stuff? Why can it not be Burgas as well? Burgas is a perfect platform for this. You know, there's that new tech park area next to Galleria. I think even Microsoft has some sales office there. Dominoes and stuff.
I came back to Burgas also 7-8 years ago, and I always thought that this would happen next season. Next season we'll have like Burgas, because it's beautiful in so many ways. There is no traffic. It's cheaper to live, so anyone that's like working remotely can come and enjoy life here. Like, you don't have to kill anyone to put your child in kindergarten and stuff, and everything's close by, so it's easy and better to live. And like every year I'm like, next one will like bloom, and it doesn't happen. So I don't know why. Not sure why.
Well, I agree with you. And one thing, I'm seeing quite a lot of development these days. If you look at the expansion of all the apartment buildings and stuff like that, right? Whether it's just people from Sofia trying to get holiday places here or not, or whether it's younger professionals having businesses that actually buys apartments, or just people that rent apartments out.
This is just big business.
Yeah,
nothing else.
Exactly. I think the thing that Burgas needs to expand is a real focus from the Minister of Innovation here, or Technology, to provide and source and grant funding, an initiative for tech companies to move to Burgas as well. Universities and education to focus on the technology sector, and healthcare. Because the healthcare in Burgas is a little bit shocking.
Like anywhere in Bulgaria.
Yeah, but I mean, at least in Sofia, there's slightly better options.
That's why it's not Plovdiv and Varna, it's just Sofia.
Yeah.
Just Sofia.
You're right.
In many regards. In many regards, and especially in healthcare, it's just Sofia. Yeah, you can go to the GP here. But when you need real specialists, and if we are talking out of hours, maybe...
well, Stoikov is the best option here at the moment. Stoikov, sorry.
What's Stoikov?
Stoikov, the hospital next to Burgas Plaza, that green one. There's Cerce Mozik, but the problem with them is they just want to keep you in there to claim your insurance funds, and they'll remove any organ that they can just to get money. Really,
anywhere,
I'm sorry,
anywhere. There are such a stories, even
that's
with
crazy.
People close to me right now. They have like the last week they have shocking story. So
I mean, why? For me, like what I've seen in the hospitals there, because my mom was in there and I had to rip her out before they just remove an organ for no reason, is how they treat Bulgarian people. They treat Bulgarian people like subhuman. To me, the last time I checked, Bulgarian people are equally important as any other people. And they also have equal rights of life, of prosperity. And treating them like an object or a number is straight up bullshit.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bulgarian government, healthcare, private officials, it's bullshit. Treat your people like they're worth something.
And this is the brand new, like, sparkling hospital of Burgas. The pride of Burgas healthcare.
Yes.
So,
yeah,
I don't know. And everyone has, by themselves, maybe their relative, everyone is involved in this.
Yeah.
And they don't believe that their vote will change this thing. They think that there is no connection between the two.
But that's what I'm saying. If you stop the money flow in politics, in healthcare, anywhere, to fund these bad things, and that's easier said than done, life will be better for everybody.
I hope you're right. Thank you for being here. I hope I see you again. Do you have? Are you traveling to Burgas like very often?
I live in a Bulgarian village, and I travel to Burgas quite often actually because it's my favorite place. I am at the moment looking for a new job. So I'm still planning to stay in Burgas area. And I'm still planning to do a lot more videos on YouTube and TikTok about Bulgaria.
You'll have much more free time on your hands?
At this stage, yes.
Yeah, so hopefully it will give you opportunity to spread your influence in the platforms. Yeah.
But I would also like to see more people like you and your podcast in Bulgaria be elevated, because
take me to a trip with you sometime. Can we do that?
Deal.
Let's do it.
Deal.
Where are we going next time?
Might be semi-illegal.
Okay.
Right.
I'm up to that.
Okay. I can't tell you, because if I told you, I have to kill you.
Yeah, no, we won't say it. You're gonna see it before we say it.
Yeah, the users will have to find out, when you're missing from your podcast and when you're in jail. I'm just kidding.
Clean record for now. I hope this stays the same. Kind of self-employed right now, so I don't care about that.
Yes.
I don't care about either the viewers. Thank you. Okay, we'll do something together, and hopefully we'll see you here again.
Okay. Благодаря много. Хубав ден.
Чао, хубав ден на всички.